Ladies and gents, welcome back. We're here for Game 2 of Inca Turn versus 7 Deadly Sins. They've switched sides. It'll be Inca Turn, of course, on the blue side this time around, and 7 Deadly Sins over on the other. As you can see, Joycey has decided he's joining 7 Deadly Sins.
I mean, I offered my services as River Shen.
River Shen is wonderful.
The jungle phase is over.
It is. Where did that meme come from again? Was it just some random guy?
It was a guy who played. There was a guy who played Shen in. Well, technically the jungle. I'm trying to remember if he queued up as jungle, but I think it was
queued up as jungle.
No, it was before the time of role selects. This was a while ago. I mean,
many moons.
It's been a while. No, it has been a while. And the guy just went into champion select and said, "Does everyone go mid, top, River Shen?" Excuse me. And then he'd just get like 1-2 camps, and then he just farm scuttle crabs or whatever, and he just run into lanes and taunt people and get ridiculous amounts of kills.
Yeah.
And this, I'd imagine it wasn't against something which could like a Karthus or a Diddley or so, which could farm his jungle.
Yeah.
He just went across and just taunted every lane, and they won the game. And it was in this guy's promos game. And
jungle phase is over.
And then just faded into obscurity. So then this guy spent many years looking for the notorious River Shen. Anyway, that's absolutely not relevant to this game at all.
No.
7 Deadly Sins, crush game 1.
I figured it out. Why the hell they done it, by the way.
Go on.
You see that their clan tag is 7DS. We've seen the release of the new
what's
Xbox,
7 times 2?
The new PlayStation 5. They're just a console ahead. PC gaming is obsolete. The 7DS, the new handheld console, is replacing the Switch.
God.
This is what it is. So, Nintendo, they're sponsored by Nintendo. I'm telling you now.
We had the 3DS. Welcome to the 7DS.
That's exactly it.
Right. Okay.
That's exactly it. The Xbox 360 went down to the 1. They've gone from 3 to 7.
So 7DS is like 3DS, and 3 is like a triangle, and a
That's
triangle.
exactly it.
So
they're both prime numbers. It's the next prime. It's not quite.
I was going to do like the whole like 7DS or actually the Illuminati thing.
Ah,
the pyramid.
Yeah.
So 7DS, 3DS, 3 is a triangle. Triangles.
That's it.
I've now exposed them. They will not be winning the series. Maybe that's where they get the power from.
That's it. Or maybe it's just like powerful numbers, like 3's associated with the Trinity, 7's with like the weak, and like all that kind of deal.
Gotcha.
Maybe that's what it's attached to.
I don't know how to follow up on that. I'm not gonna lie.
I was expecting something better. You just let it, like the ball was thrown and you let it drop.
It's
dead
more
in
than
the
that.
floor.
It's just like,
I'm looking at it right now. It's on the floor between.
I'm
not picking that up.
Okay, so who will be picking up the slack, though hopefully will be Inca Turn. Gonna have to come into this game. They have side choice this game, chosen blue side, like we were saying. They have bans again in the first phase, which is a big deal.
No, I might want to be removed.
No, I might want to be removed. Might want to ban out something like Wukong. I think Wukong's
super strong right now, I agree.
Particularly if Wukong is a flex pick, of course. Different for me as a color caster in this kind of level is casting people who, of course, don't have champion pools which cover every meta pick. Because honestly, not many players have that anyway. I mean, I'm a diamond player. In terms of mid lane picks, do I play all the meta champions? Hell no. I play like a good 4, 5, 6. But then you look at all the available options, it definitely expands outside that. Particularly if I go into another role as well. Someone like Platypus, who's playing an off role right now, probably won't have all of those champions to the same level as some of his mains. So it is worth noting that when we go into pick and ban, you're talking about people who don't have the entire meta pool available to them, and that means that you have to start doing a bit more problem solving with the available champion pool to try and make yourself a composition which isn't completely counted. So like in that game, I mean, Graves was not pick or banned. You wouldn't see that at the pro level. But that's okay. These players might not play Graves. Yeah. That is fine. That is totally acceptable.
Yeah, exactly. What is acceptable at this level where people just do have those more distinct champion pools where they play things they like, not more than necessarily what is like just broken in the meta. That does make a massive difference. Worth pointing out, guys, just a heads up about why we're waiting around.
Because you'd like to hear our voices.
That's exactly it. We're here to podcast for you. We're great. But moving on to actual relevant, important information to come across. Ice Arrow, of course, had to restart PC during the game. That's what the pause was for. Just put a heads up that he's still tech supporting himself there. Struggling with some FPS issues. Got a pretty high NPC. Shouldn't be getting 20 FPS. Something's a bit weird there. Might have to have a look at his GPU being seated and stuff. So it's getting pretty intense over in the 7 Deadly Sins corner.
Yeah, I remember that. So when a couple of, might have been one of the last drive. Oh, it was a Windows update thing. That was it, yeah. And a Windows update thing came in way too weirdly, and I dropped down to like 15 FPS on League when I'm used to getting, 200.
Okay, that's pretty... What?
Well, yeah, I mean, League is not the most intensive game.
No, but what happened to drop it down to 50? Just Windows updating?
To this day, I'm still not entirely sure. I think it was just Windows being...
suspect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, when everything is not controlled in-house, sometimes things don't sync up the way they should with tech.
Yes.
And that might be happening over here with ISAR, but we're still waiting around that at the minute.
Mm.
Until that time, you've got us to talk at you for a while.
And I do think that going back to the game which we just saw,
Yeah.
I mean, of course,
Quite a lot to talk about.
yeah, it's not all gloom and doom for Inca, because, you know, a lot of the time you come off a big stompy game and like, this is going to be a really interesting series to cast, because if that happens again, well, we're going to be here for a very short amount of time. Inca fought at the right points in that game, at the start of it. They saw the double tier, and they said, okay, let's go for it. And they got fights, they got kills. It could have gone better for them, but, you know, it shows the right instincts. If they start cultivating around that, and they adapt within the series, they have another James drop if they, you know, and then come back with 3 wins. That is a chance. I would, obviously, trying to do that is very difficult. But reverse sweeps are a known phenomenon in
the most dangerous game, number 3, and we'll have to see whether
it's 3 again.
Yeah,
they're back. They're back.
Oh,
number 3.
we figured it out.
We've
outed you now, Seven Deadly Sins.
What are
you gonna do?
If there's nothing which has outed us as like those early 2010s memes people, this would be it.
Yeah, well, we've not.
This is probably not the best.
We've not brought up like the Troll Face or
the Rage comics,
or Chungus or any of these things.
That was a bit later.
That was a bit later, but whatever. Okay.
We're constantly banned. That's one thing which I would like to see. Yeah, okay. I like the Vigar ban, like I was saying before. Both of these things, very good.
Yeah, especially if you're wanting to play a particular way.
And if the 7 Deadly Sins, if they want to play towards diving, which, you know, with the Kai'Sa, they absolutely do.
Really strong generally right now. It's a pro ban for him.
And I mean, Isara's, you know, he plays stuff like Zac as well. You know, there's definitely a lot of diving champions available, and Vigar puts a stopper on that.
Well, we've called it the VLPL for a reason. Wukong is brutal over there right now. Go check out those games and feel disgusted. It's taken off. It's completely off the board, and the Gnar is off as well. Honest Sleep, that Gnar does really play havoc with how Hodgson wants to play the game. The Mordekaiser is taken out as well. Another one of those kind of bruiser top laners. The AP version of Set really taken off the table for now.
Yeah, no, I think that's well, he's kind of AP Darius.
Sure. No, so that's a more reasonable.
He's got the pull, he's got a Q bonk, and he's okay.
He's got the ultimates are the ultimate, of course, Mordekaiser is super distinct. And you can break comps.
It's mainly just his E, which is the same thing as Darius, but.
And he has like an area effect thing, and he can heal himself with his things. But there we go. Okay.
I like the Nautilus as well, because Nautilus does remove some teeth from Kai'Sa too, because Kai'Sa Nautilus is the primary lane for that AD carry.
Yeah. So many easy ways to stack plasma.
And of course, I mean, and without even talking about interactions and stuff, these are 3 of the picks that were just played and were played to great effect. Kai'Sa has been banned last by 7 Deadly Sins. We talked about it being a takeaway from Sampete, even though he had that good early game on the Aphelios. You don't want to give him more tools to potentially get another Penta.
Don't want to do that, that's for sure. Aphelios, of course, still open. Varus, of course, still open. Has been nerfed, but still pretty damn strong. Ezreal, lots of AD carries on that front.
Oh, for sure. No. We didn't see either of the priority, but, you know, I mean, well, Ezreal didn't go.
It's here.
I was going to ask.
Hodgson goes where the hell he pleases, and the raid boss for this top lane has been locked in.
So, Cassiopeia top?
Cassiopeia top, it's time to lock it in, even if you can build yourself some decent magic resistance on that Mundo. Cassiopeia's not bad at tank shredding, even with that.
I like the Zac.
Yeah, locked in here. Isara plays a mean Zac.
Last time we saw the Isara Zac, it was really nasty. He's a big proponent of that pick.
He very much is. He does disgusting things on that champion, and we'll be looking to do that here, as they are in fact looking to go up 2-0 in this series. See what the second pick is going to be. They've got a lot to work. I mean, the Zac could still strictly be top lane, but we doubt it. Caitlyn's locked in, and Kraft does play a very good Caitlyn.
Okay, so it's not the Aphelios. It's not the Xayah. This is a little bit different. Of course, there's that lane dominant AD carry, very popular within the VL. It allows you to have that safe laning phase. If you're not interrupted within that 2v2, or if the 2v2 and the jungle games go your way, you just keep rolling around across the map.
Wow.
Fizz has been locked in. Is this now Fizz Jungle? Raging Platypus is a Fizz main.
Yeah, exactly that. I wonder. I mean, Fizz Jungle, I suppose you can go... Yeah, I suppose AP's not with the challenging smite with the Runic Echoes, but we're not awful on that.
Okay, so we'll have to see what build it is. I mean, potentially could be on hit the Conqueror or something like that. It's probably going to be the AP Burst, I'd imagine. I haven't seen Fizz Jungle in a long time.
Neither have I.
This will be
I mean, is Raging Platypus switching back to mid? Are they switching somebody else in there?
I don't know. It could also... Yeah, but there is a chance of that. I don't know what Yone plays. I will say Raging Platypus had the best game out of anyone in Qatar. He was the guy leading the charge. course, we're going to need to talk about the Ashe and the Morgana locked in. Kate Morg, 1 bind hits into a trap, into death. That is
It's
a hell of
such a
kill
nasty combo. Yeah.
However, Ashe is one of the champions which does really well into Caitlyn. You can start poking with the volley when
You're longer range than her autos.
which are long range than her autos. In fact, Caitlyn doesn't have that 100% HP to keep fighting around. What I'd really like to see now is maybe something like a Brawl again back out of MacMan, because it does give you that ability to block for the Ashe with the shield, stops that kill combo coming through quite so heavily.
Zyra is something we might want to keep an eye out as well. MacMan does like that.
And Ashe Zyra is one of the... Well, that was the Season 6 kill lane.
Yeah.
That was Season 3 kill lane. This has been around for a very long time. It's been longer than I've been playing the game.
Sneaky elimination out there, bringing that one to the fore.
Bang & Wolf,
Bang & Wolf. Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's been a very long time since we've seen some of these things.
Ashe Misfortune, that's what we really want right now.
See, that only works because of the Zyra.
I know, it was really good into the Zyra, but you can still go for the kill combo.
So the reason that worked is because double up would work on the plants.
Yeah.
So if you queued the plant, instantly kill, and you get the extra damage for it. So you put out the plants of Zyra, and you just get traded back really heavily onto. We still need to figure out where this Fizz is going. Okay, right. So 7 Deadly Sins are not convinced this is a mid lane Fizz. I'm also not convinced, if I'm honest, because I think if Yune, looking at the match histories, looking at OPGGs, probably will still be a mid lane.
There's Lux, of course, available to that player. There is also the likes of Nico, does like to play those ones.
CC burst champion.
Yes, exactly. It's ranged with a
CC burst.
Something on the E key normally, or the Q if you're a Lux. Just
I thought you were going to say something on the E girl. I'm like, oh, I mean, technically, yeah.
Strictly, but no, just good CC.
I say that though, but like, I mean, I'm an Ari main. Yeah, it's absolutely not the case.
I'm looking at a poster of Ari.
Can you stop hovering Rammus, you cretins?
No,
you would not do that to us. It's gonna be rather.
Yeah, no, it'll be
so many bad memories.
Not the Rammus. We're still traumatized. But I wake up in sweats, dreaming of a mid lane Rammus 1 versus a LeBlanc that went 4-0 in lane versus
Casters wake across the world, not knowing what their horrors are. A pick hovers in their dreams. Predator Rammus. It's actually Dark Harvest.
Dark Harvest.
It's even worse. It's not even like
not even additional speed. It's Dark Harvest.
Okay, all right. So it's not. Gosh. Yeah, okay. It's gonna be Fizz.
Well. Oh my days! Yes. Woohoo! That might be Oriana's support.
Ori's support's awful.
It is. I mean, what else could it be though?
It's role swaps. I just don't know where.
But.
Okay.
But one of Ashe, Zed, or Oriana has to be a support champion.
One of them also has to be jungle.
Fizz is going to be jungle.
So,
no.
There is a.
Actually, wait. It could well be a proxy pick. Let's not forget that. Talia is locked in here.
Okay, all right. So, okay, sure. Go away at 7 Deadly Sins for a second. We need to talk about what the hell is happening in Qatar. What? Okay, so it looks like Oriana's going to be mid lane. There is a chance that it's Mundo jungle, Fizz top. This could be Zed bot. Actually, so, okay, it's probably our support as Zed bot. That's what I'm thinking right now. And that will be against the Kate Morg. So just bring 7 Deadly Sins back into the conversation. Lots of engage from the Zac. Lots of engage from the Aurelia. If a bind lands, you're going to have that kind of set up for you. And there's a huge amount of priority in that Caitlyn Morgana lane. However, if you get caught up by volleys and you get caught up by a shadow combo from Zed, Zed can
eviscerate you.
He can use his shadow, hop over the dark binding, and then start flashing, Eing, and start trying to kill people. I used to play a bit of Zed bot. At level 4, you have some real kill combos. If you poke out with your Qs early enough, poke out with volleys early enough, it could be really big.
And that is, of course, another AD threat versus the Morgana, whose Black Shield does very little against. Loadouts are going to be down, and as a reminder, guys,
they played Zed bot before. Apparently, we weren't casting it, but
there was a Zed bot. The Zed bot as a support, apparently. So maybe the carry this time might be the support. We'll find out. But we've been given that heads up by production. As a reminder, we've got, of course, the interview with Agratar. 7 Deadly Sins coach, who will be coming to join us. That'll be Agratar. I'm going to move him in. Hello, sir.
Hello.
We have a lot of things to talk about. So, of course, Inca have thrown a lot of curveballs out here. Your team composition, a little bit more standard, lots to engage, some lane priority, some scaling in there as well. What was the most important thing for you to achieve in this draft?
We wanted to pressure them.
I think you've done that.
We wanted to pinch the top lane pool, which kind of turned out in our favor. We left the own up because we didn't really anticipate Hutchison bringing that out. Also, we pinched the jungle pool because we felt like the Jarvan last game was not that inferior to a lot of other picks.
Yep,
also, we wanted to pick up the Caitlyn Morgana, which was a good answer into a lot of the things that they normally run into lane priority.
Okay.
So speaking of that bot lane, of course, we've got a bit of an interesting one there. That looks like a Zed
Mm.
Ash bot lane. How are you feeling about Kraft and Shinebright going into that duo?
I have a lot of patience. Oh, I mean, I have a lot of respect for that bot lane, but I think our bot lane is going to be able to shove them in and pressure them really badly.
Yeah,
And I don't
honestly,
feel.
yeah, I
I
think we're
think the
both.
Fizz is not going to be able to go on that.
Yeah. There's a chance that Fizz really doesn't achieve much. His jungle clear is
Sure.
not necessarily the best,
fantastic.
and he
Yeah.
probably won't be able to pressure the Zac. That's one thing,
Yeah,
right?
no,
The
it's a
Zac's
big
probably
deal.
not much a threat. Zed Ash can poke out Kate Morg, but if one bind lands, that's effectively lane over for that. So honestly, a lot of these lanes could be decided very quickly into this game. Like one bad trade, level 1, level 2, and then suddenly Inca have nothing to do in that bot lane.
Yeah.
You kind of alluded to it a little earlier as well. Obviously, in the last game, Honest Sleeps Gnar put Hodgson in a serious bind, was down a lot of CS, was stuck under tower, down teleports. What are your thoughts about the Aurelia Mundo matchup? Are you feeling that that's going to be something that's going to really put Hodgson under the cosh again?
I think when Aurelia came out with the rework, she was really oppressive into a lot of tanks or into people that really couldn't do much.
Mhm.
Which I still think is the case nowadays. If she gets the 5 stacks up and she just bashes away at
Yeah,
Hutchison.
and Blade is an item now as well. Doesn't have the true damage in the
Exactly.
Conqueror, but still very good.
Okay,
Still
we've got
very good.
your last thoughts, sir. You've got 10 seconds. Where should we be looking in this game?
I think a lot of things are going to be played around mid lane and bot lane. Top lane
Okay.
is going to be on a sleep lane, and jungle's going to be pressuring mid lane, I think. Bot lane is going to be doing its own thing until level 6, which is where Fizz, I guess, is looking to gank with the set Ashe Fizz ult.
Fantastic. Thank you again, Agatha. We'll speak to you again perhaps later on. Best of luck to Seven Deadly Sins, and we'll see both Inca and Seven Deadly Sins on the Rift after this break. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here on the Rift. with a hell of an interesting bot lane to talk about. We've been hearing rumors from the likes of Bauer, X, Inca turn jungler in the chat saying that you still think that is Zed AD carry and Ashe support.
I think it's Ashe Inting. She just used heal right in the river.
Oh no!
What is it with Inca turn members and randomly using summoners? Oh, for God's sake.
Okay, well, we're tilted. Macman might be tilted. That's a bad one to blow before laning phase as well.
Yeah, it's that one's difficult. So
Barrier exhaust actually for Kraft and Shine Bright as well.
It's
still bad.
Barrier exhaust, no heal, but of course having the exhaust versus Zed really nasty. In fact, Zed gonna get hit by the Dark Binding there. Worth noting, the Morgana's gone for the Steel Shoulder Guards, not gone for the AP poke item. That's the more defensive thing, which means again Morg will be harder to pick off as the exhaust. Zed has gone for the Spectral Sickle, going for that poke build. I know that, you know, some people have a chat like, Mac, you still think Macman support? I do actually think in this lane, Ashe support is better than Zed support. I think you go Comet on Ashe. I think you go W for the poke, a Special Sickle. You have more options to poke out. Your cooldowns are lower on your volley. It's just much easier to hit it in one way as well. And Zed farms pretty well and does really well with items, whereas Ashe can do pretty well with that baseline utility in a way that Zed really doesn't. Reggie Platypus starting with a W on the Fizz jungle, started on blue buff. Low HP though.
Yeah, the Seastone Trident is a great ability, lots of on-hit damage. It means he's quite good single target damage, and I can see why he started blue side as a result of it. Not the best clear, we've talked about that already. Shine Bright has found their way into the bush down here. Samvete and Macman just step away there, don't want to get caught by the binding. And off to not a pretty standard starts around the bout. It was great hearing from Deadly Sin's coach about their thoughts on how this game would play out. Level 2 hit by 7 Deadly Sins first.
Okay, you're really waiting until level 3, level 4 for Zed to really start doing stuff. He has the combo up to him. Started the shadows there, does actually miss both those shurikens. But of course, having the electrocute, you don't get that electrocute very easily unless you hit that shadow, the shadow slash on the E from your shadow, and then follow up with a double shuriken. That gets you your electrocute. It's your really good poke combo. But you're waiting for that. You're waiting for level 3, level 4.
WEQ, that's the way you do it. Until such a time as Zed has level 3, that's not really available right now. The shove in from Shine Bright and Kraft continues. Another binding from Shine Bright, but the trade back is pretty heavy from Macman. Kraft with the long range. In a lot of trouble. The nice down flash in for an auto, but the barrier's up. Shadow almost first blood over to the Orianna, does get to turn around, and that will be Summoner's Burn from Shadow Hopper to fail out. But Shine Bright gets the kill on Samvete in this bot side. In lane kills from both squads here.
Fire
another binding. Shine Bright cannot miss. The exhaust is down, and a second kill comes across. This bot lane is being brutalized.
So we talked about this with, of course, the coach, which came and sat down with us. These lanes could be decided very early on.
It's done.
Kate Morg is nasty. Really nasty. Now we're dealing with a bot lane without summoners. You have the flash on Ashe, but that's it. You don't have the heal, don't have the ignite. You're trying to look maybe for Fizz to gank now, and he has found his way to the bot lane, but of course there's still a flash and a barrier onto the Caitlyn. Have to go onto the Morg, see how this works.
Samvete now down level, but Fizz is in behind, coming for the engage, trying to get this punished down. We're looking how much damage is getting done. That's Kraft with no mana. Has got flash and barrier though. Shine Bright is here, will probably be sacrificed for the aggressive shove in. Samvete gets that kill up, maybe alleviates some of the pressure, and does at least get summoners out of that bot side.
It takes away the barrier from the Caitlyn as well. Still has the flash. What that means is that the next time they go in for these huge trade combos, Zed won't have to deal with that damage reduction. Finally looking up towards this top lane, Hodgson doing some good damage against the Aurelia. He's tanking up like a double wave there.
That was a lot of damage to dive into, and of course Aurelia likes a wave to play around, but play around on her terms, not with a veritable onslaught, yeah. Pretty much a firing squad aiming at her there with the caster minions all around.
Minions arguably do about as much damage as a champion in early trades. Because of your base armor, because of the base damage of caster minions. You know, like, I think it's about 3 caster minions do, like, about the same as a champion in terms of auto attacks.
Yeah, sticks and stones may break your bones, but it's caster minions that will kill you.
Zed misses the combo?
Does miss the combo. That's a bit unfortunate. Yep. The CS lead is not really apparent right now on the bot side, but it is an item advantage. Longsword to pickaxe with the range of that Caitlyn is terrifying. Macman has at least got the heal back up after the unfortunate press in the river before lanes and stuff started. But the reason we are so indexing on this bot side lane is because it's so explosive, so volatile, and it's already come out to 3 kills.
And the thing for me is that actually this bot lane of Inca turn, they need to be using their cooldowns very efficiently.
Ooh, good
combo
job.
hits onto the Orianna. The electrocute comes through. Hodgson, honestly, still fighting this top lane. So much damage.
And this Aurelia that was supposed to be really good into that lane is apparently not getting there right now. Knock up onto Samvetti. I believe he still has Shadow, or maybe doesn't. That was
He
not the
failed it
best
over the
Shadow.
wall.
That's really problematic. They're going to try and get as much damage down as they can, but they don't get the kill.
Okay, didn't burn anything.
Fortunate, but for Samvetti that he didn't need to get over the wall. A little bit perhaps late on the binding and stuff from Chimebright, but forces more health out. Forces another awkward position from the bot lane of Inca 10.
There's pinging enemy Raptors, going to walk over a ward as he goes towards them. Going to be seen out by Talia. Of course, the Talia has no flash. Going to be some, it looks like Ice Arrow is once again having some issues with that old lag. So we'll be just going into a quick pause. We've got more time to talk mad crap.
Mad crap, and speaking of mad crap, there's a mad doctor in the top lane that is winning out on trades, got to the level 6 first, but is actually down quite a lot of CS. I think he's probably been using the cleavers more to trade with the Aurelia than he has been to farm right now.
Looks like the ready ping's going out already, though. It shouldn't be too long into this. Well,
hopefully
not. Hopefully not. Yeah, so there is about, 200, 300 gold lead to the Aurelia already, up 10, 15 CS. That's a good start. Wave will be, actually I have no idea, can't check on the wave. Let me go have a look at the top lane later. Actually, it's going to be slightly in the favor of Hodgson. Will be able to freeze that if he would so wish, as the Aurelia is going to be teleporting back into lane. Got itself an execution is calling first.
So big versus the healing that Hodgson can put out on that Mundo. Sadism is a very powerful ability.
It is. It has some very high regen as well. If he hits the cleavers, and ends up getting some good health back from those. Of course. Not just going to be focusing on that top lane, though. Mid lane has a slight advantage to Slayer. Bind misses in the bot lane. That will be something which we need to be keeping an eye on. We talked about it. One binding often leads to one kill. We saw 2 of them very early into this game.
Kills are 10 to 2. Oh, sorry, 2 to 2. It is about 500, 600 gold lead right now to 7 Deadly Sins, or rather the 7DS. Not Nintendo, by the way. But the shove in this bot side continues. The pressure in this bot side continues. And a 20 CS lead, well, give or take, depending on how this wave gets cleared out, let's be fair. It's
Level
pretty
6
significant.
Aurelia now, actually. So there is kill pressure onto this window. Of course, the ultimate available from Hodgson as well. Good combo there from Zed. Does manage to get a bit of poke down onto the bot lane of the Morgana and Kate. Kate actually running out of mana.
Oh, here we go. Hodgson in trouble. That's the Vanguard's edge, and it doesn't really need to be used. Honest Sleep gets the easy solo kill in that top side. And all those trades that have been going so well get invalidated the moment the teleport comes back in and Hodgson gets slain where he stands.
I disagree. I mean, Mundo popped the ultimate in terms of not needing to use the Vanguard's edge. Mundo's ultimate was just popped there. If that Q doesn't end up registering and doesn't have the extra Q reset, there's a chance he knows to get out there. Had the flash as well. Might have ended up having to go under tower. Honestly, does get the kill. I don't think it's worth risking that Mundo surviving. Solo kills to the Aurelia. Looking good for the top laner of 7 Deadly Sins.
Aurelia quite literally doesn't give a Mundo. Removes it from her lane. Chimebright's in the mid lane. Roaming Morgana is a terror. It's gone towards the early cloth armor as well, which is just super sensible versus this lane.
Ow.
And Raging Platypus desperately trying to keep going with the farm. Pretty low here. We'll get at least that red buff, but we'll back now. Looking to probably complete something like a Fiendish Codex.
So the thing about Fizz Jungle is actually, I'm pretty sure your W auto attacks don't proc the AP item. You have to use your E on camps for it. I do remember dabbling in it a bit before. I'm not entirely read up on.
I can't say I've played it. It's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but we'll have to keep an eye on it.
I enjoy myself some Fizz. I enjoy myself all of those assassins. I know I am the scum of the earth.
I thought you weren't a Fizz player.
No, I play Fizz. Maybe I don't play it around you. Maybe you're not worthy.
Maybe I'm not worthy, or maybe I've just been saved from from that.
That's actually
bad.
Yes.
We do occasionally bring up the brave Zed dives that you enjoy.
Hey,
playing.
my Zed is pretty
Used
clean.
to be very clean. You don't play it quite.
Used to be.
Well, you don't play it very much anymore, do you?
That's very true.
So that's the reason I bring it. It's a time thing.
He lands from
Hodgson
Aurelia
and just have to back away from the wave. That's pretty ugly zoning. And Aurelia in a long lane without jungle pressure can really run people down. The reason we don't see Aurelia top that much is because if she's the one in the long lane, she can get run down herself.
It is also worth noting it's a completely AP top side of the map as well. Ashel just fired in the bot lane, but misses.
And Zax's actually into the bush. They also know that without that Ash Arrow available, Ice Arrow himself can look to return the favor. Show how that ISO is supposed to work. Another engage in the top side though. Conqueror is being stacked. Hodgson taken so very low. And it's another solo kill. An Honest Sleep Sleep tight, sleep honest, sweet Hodgson Prince. Not looking good up there in the top side.
He burns the ultimate again, but the execution is calling doing so much work. He's just taking the worst end of so many of these trades. Zach going to be ganking the bot lane now.
Okay, the black shield is down, but doesn't actually miss. But here comes that level 6, the death mark down. Macman going to try and get away. The Let's Bounce is down. Flash out by Macman. Fish ult does miss. The dog chomps on nothing, but Kraft potentially in a sweet spot of trouble. There comes the E, but the flash out from the side of Ice Arrow stays going down, but a Raging Platypus does get that. Caitlyn is now in a difficult spot. Caitlyn is straight. Talia is down. Sanvete did get the second kill. Oh my days, it's being turned around. That play that looked so good has been turned around. Shadow Hopper at least picks up the Fizz in the back end of it, but will pay with the slows and his life. Macman 31 slays Talia. Throw another rock. I bid you some ice instead.
What the heck? That's a huge play from Inca turn. Raging Platypus reaches level 6 somehow at the same time as Ice Arrows. Fizz, I was not convinced would be able to play that.
2-1-2 now, out of that play.
Yeah. And even though Talia roams down, it is still a 4-for-1.
Yeah,
4-for-1. Now it's 6-5 in the kill score, evened up the gold, plates over to the side of this bot lane. And actually what that means is Ashe and Zed, getting so much gold put into their pockets, are now going to be able to threaten this bot lane of the Kate Morgana. This is turning the game plan on its head for Inca turn.
And lethality is so damn cheap that Zed, even being a ways behind, had come back to lane with a Dirk. And that is such a big deal. That serrated Dirk against the likes of this Zac, against his Caitlyn, who don't have any armor at this point in the game, did put enough damage out. And yeah, there's a Seeker's Arm guard on Morgana. She burned her stopwatch, didn't matter, still died.
Also worth noting, 3 plates taken in the mid lane for the Orianna, which means that Orianna is now 800 gold ahead of Shadowhopper. You know, managing to have a good stepping out of the combo there as well. Doing well in this
forwards versus Talia, you will always be rewarded, it feels like.
Don't dash forward. Really, really bad.
Don't dash through that those pebbles. What are the pebbles called again?
Unraveled Earth.
Unraveled. Thank you.
It's the seismic shove, which is the E.
That's right. Seismic shove on you. And threaded volley is
threaded volley. And then the Weaver's Wall.
Indeed. I just couldn't remember what the pebbles on the ground were called. So thank you for that. Unraveled Earth.
Pretty okay.
I was going to call it work ground. Like, no, that's how.
Oh, somebody acing a binding.
But the top lane, maybe he's going to go a little way. They're going to try and shut down Honest Sleep. Got a lot of strength. Can win the 1v2 perhaps. But Hodge's got his ultimate running. Can this work out? Flash out from Honest Sleep. But there comes the hop from Fizz. Trying to turn around, but the shutdown. That's a lot of gold over. And actually, Sanvete does go down. Doesn't manage to get out of vision. And Caitlyn kits that with the ace in the hole. 1-for-1 across the map.
And what that does mean is double buffs are now refreshed. Wait, are they refreshed? No, they just died out. Good luck there. Well, sorry, bad luck there for Kraft on Caitlyn. Does pick up the kill. Now 2-1-2. Even though the Aurelia does die on the top side, it's going to be the Dragon going over to the side of 7 Deadly Sins. The first one taken 12, nearing 13 minutes in.
Finding lands. Very low HP. The barrier's popped. I don't think it's going to matter. Yoon desperately trying to get out the flash out. But no, Threaded Volley claims the life of the Orianna. Ice, arrows, and shadows. Well, just turned up in mid lane to see what Shadow Hopper was doing. Congratulate him on a good job.
Yeah, no ignite
available. Been spotted in the back. That's really problematic, but just managed to get away thus far. The slows in. A lot of damage onto this Fizz. Still chasing. Got the speed up with the wall buyer. Can she quite get it? No, throws it a little bit too
far. Mundo's now chasing it down. Has no
flash. No, and there's no mana as well. Has got the blast plant though. We'll get to it. And the binding is there. Good supporting from Chime Brat to turn up and help that Talia. And all the while, the rest of 7 Deadly Sins were starting up that Rift Herald will not be guilty of one of those sins. Greed this time around.
But now Morgana's roamed across the map. If Kate walks up to this wave, she dies. I'm kind of sad that they pushed that wave there, because you could deny Caitlyn a lot of XP,
I can understand wanting to trade for plates though versus the Herald.
However, potentially, if you push in here, I kind of feel like an Ashe ult could have been used there. Just threaten that, get the flash out away from the Caitlyn, maybe then bring the Fizz down on that next reset as well.
With that. Death mark, maybe you could do it, but Morg's going to be pretty swiftly here, and that could be risky to dive under tower versus that.
Time window's gone now. Time window's gone.
They'll get the plate, but the Herald, of course, does go the way of 7 Deadly Sins. There's only the 2 plates available, remember, in that top side, 3 in the bot. Does just time out, of course, but that Rift Herald will probably claim the life of either the bot or the mid turret if it gets a free charge.
Yeah, potentially it could do that. Worth noting, of course, that the bot lane has 40 CS lead.
Oh, here we go again. Ooh, good knock up there. The stretching strike's going to land as well. Hodgson's in a lot of trouble, but the ultimate is there and has at least got enough tankiness with the Sunfire Cape to survive the initial engage. Herald is summoned top lane, and that will be first turret surely over to the side of 7 Deadly Sins. No way for Hodgson to stop that from happening.
And with the level 11 Aurelia now in the extended lane of the top lane with the top lane out of turret down for Inca turn, this is really hard for Hodgson. We already saw him lose right underneath his tower. Now he's going to have to do it right across the lane as well.
Okay, that
misses.
Does miss, and the Black Shield was clutch and means both ultimates now invalidated from Raging Platypus and from MacMan.
Yeah, so that's we've seen a lot of missed fizzles. I know that Platypus is a fizz main. He'll be kicking himself for those ones just on the tip of the range there. If it does hit, maybe the Ash Shot comes through, or at least one of those ults registers CC. The Black Shield comes in big. Stun misses from honestly. This could be pretty bad.
He could get turned around.
Yes,
Remember,
no
there's the ult though. Conqueror's being stacked. Aurelia gets a hell of a lot of healing.
He failed his
Q.
Q.
Hodgson failed the Q. Oh
no,
what?
He doesn't.
Okay, that looked like it was being turned around, but resets are a thing, and Honest Sleep gets the Q. The execution is calling is still paying off in spades right now. Raging Platypus trying to find a way. Flash out of the seismic shove.
Flash out of the seismic shove. Looks like it will be another tower down here from the side of
Deathmark. The Deathmark is out, but the armor's doing a lot of work, and the exhaust is clutch.
Exhaust is clutch. Some health away from the Morgana. Exhaust burn from Chimebright, as well as that Soul Shackles from the Morgana. Ice Arrows keeps going in, though.
Yeah, it's going to be Ice Arrow versus Ash, betrayed by her own ability, trying to find something, but the fight in the mid lane continues. Ignite down, but first the Barret flash out of that Shockwave, and Honest Sleep claims the kill onto Yune.
Keeping the Orianna honest is Honest Sleep, and she puts the Orianna to sleep.
Chimebright desperately low, but not quite low enough. Gets
Ignite.
CC to death. The Ignite is down. Does get the kill, but it's a 1-for-1. But now MacMan's in trouble, trying to get away. Does not have flash. Has got heal. Can they use it? The Ash Arrow is decent, but Kraft uses the barrier. The Fizz ult's in, and that's going to be a 1-for-1 again. The Hodgson here as well. Honestly, going to have to top in. Ice Arrow flashes. So did the Mundo. It's a 2 versus 2. The healing and the stocks are rising with Corporate Mundo. Honestly.
Platypus finds it once again an opening in this game. I think that he has been the real standout performer.
Really good.
Skirmishing has been very impactful, like you're saying. Managed to find his way into the bot lane a number of times. There was that failed gank. We saw a minute or two pass. This time it is anything but failed. Samberry first takes out Chimebright, I believe, and then the fight was very even after that. But it's still money in the pockets of INCA.
And we're kind of seeing a bloodbath in these mid and bot lanes. The 1v1s have been one apiece for both mid laners. We're looking at the bot lane going back and forth on kills. But the real winners right now are a Raging Platypus's Fliz and Honest Sleep on this 4-1 Aurelia up, edging up on 80 CS over this Mundo right now.
And that's also 2,500 gold.
Oh my days.
That is the tune of it.
Brutal.
It is absolutely brutal. 4-on-1, built up to a full. Blade the Rune King alongside that Execution is calling. Very, very strong items versus the Mundo. Might end up building towards the Black Cleaver as well. Could also be a Triforce if he wants to do more damage in the team fights to the backline members of INCA. But yes, no, there is the gold lead to 7 Deadly Sins and the individual gold lead on someone who can abuse that so much like the Aurelia, who has flash
in! There we go. He's going to try and find a lot of damage here, but now going deeper is Honest Sleep, getting stunned around, but Yoon goes down. The Shockwave doesn't complete because she is dead. Dead to right. Arrow does complete the betrayal onto MacMan. 1 arrow versus an Ash, and it doesn't even work. Samvete desperately trying to run away, but the stun doesn't quite land. Piltover Peacemaker does, but the Zed has to run away, and this time it's not even at all.
1 for 2 at the end of the day for Zed Deadly Sins, but the extra casualty would be that Cloud Dragon. We're going to find out which Rift it will be. It will be a Mountain Rift. Lots of stacking resist for the Zac, the Aurelia, and of course the Morgana as well, building up towards that Zhonya's Hourglass. Even though these fights are somewhat even, I'm starting to feel like 7 Deadly Sins are getting the edge out on each of the individual fights. It's slowly slipping towards them. Not as quick as it was last game, but nonetheless it is. Fizzle misses.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, Platypus still thinking about going in, though. Seismic Shove misses. Shadow Hopper a bit lower. Now, on top of that, Fizz is here. Here comes the... that's a decent use of the stopwatch. Remember, that doesn't put the Ace in the hole down for all that long. Fizz managed to get out, even in the 1v3, but Troll Pole is still as strong as ever.
Also worth noting, Ash Shot was used.
It was.
Ash Shot was used.
Good catch there, Mr. Colorcast. Not as blind as usual in that position.
Oh, come on.
All right.
I'm just lost in the deeper meaning of things.
Let's take stock here. We're 2,000 gold lead up to 7 Deadly Sins. We've got a 2 Drake lead up to 7 Deadly Sins. But there is some decent scaling between an Orianna, between the Mundo, and if that Mundo can get a hold of a few Mountain Dragons, maybe a Mountain Soul, that Aurelia is going to have a significantly tougher time trying to deal with that.
You know what's also worth noting? That Zed has the same amount of gold as the Ash.
Wow.
6,000 gold. 6,000 gold has, completed Ghostblade, probably going towards the
Duskblade? Edge of Night?
Okay, I would really like to see a Umbral Blade for the extra
Yeah.
vision control. Do I think it's going to happen?
No.
I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a Duskblade because Sanbetty wants to do damage, and we'll see how much damage he will do the next time he goes all in. He has a lot of targets to hit. The Talia, the Caitlyn, and actually there are some really interesting interactions with the Aurelia too, because if she blocks damage with her W, it's some good damage on the Chamber.
Really
Oh, it's not as much as I thought it would be.
That's what you get for having Seeker's Archon. That will be pretty stacked.
Yes.
This one.
But yeah, so if you block damage during the death mark for Aurelia, and then you stop using your W, because obviously it only lasts a certain amount of time, the pop of Zedol actually does the damage that you would have blocked. It does the pre-mitigation damage. So you take a huge chunk of damage, even if you're taking like 300 damage beforehand.
That's pretty nasty.
Yep.
Worth keeping an eye here as well. Of course, it's no longer a broken stopwatch in Chime Bright's inventory. She's upgraded. Gone back in time a little bit. Never mind watches. I'm going to use myself an hour piece. Zonya's Hourglass. Locked in for that Morgana.
Oh,
Decent chunk there onto craft, but has to be a little careful here stepping forward. Morgana is always a bit of a risky champion to step up against unless your dancing feet are on. But looking at the item completions is where my eyes are really drawn. It is 2 items for this Caitlyn versus only the Blade of the Rune King for Ashe. The Zed is pretty strong. Dirk and Ghostblade is good work, and you know there are a few champions here which you can definitely blow up. Zon uses in for the Fizz. That's big news. It's Thornmail, Sunfire in for Hodgson, which might save the Mundo's life a little bit versus this Aurelia, but that Aurelia herself is not miles away from a Trinity Force.
And Zed, okay, using the Shadow, getting out there. So, there's a bit of no man's land there, giving the one around for Ice Arrows, binding lands.
And there's a knock-up from Ice Arrows, but there was a fair amount of damage. Flash out still from MacMan. But in goes Raging Platypus, forces that stopwatch we talk about. Ice Arrow flashing in as well, but there's a Distort there to get a hold of the, Command Dissonance.
Ashol
has gone in well. That's a good
Shockwave!
And now Shadowhop is in trouble as well. And this time, the fight is clearly in the favor of Inca Turn, and that is Ice Arrows, who gets blown up there at the end of it, does not get saved by the teleport. 3 for 1. MacMan did eventually go down there. Oh, ace in the hole. No,
it does nothing. There is a troll pole to come through. Unfortunately, MacMan did go down to craft at the end of that. That is unfortunate. Every time an AD carry dies at the end of the fight, they're missing a time to go farm somewhere else.
Might have been an option as well with the Mundo there.
Potentially, it could have been an option, but then with Honest Sleep available, well, it's still risky.
Risky.
It is risky, but of course Mundo might have been able to tank that up. We'll never get to know because, of course, they didn't end up going towards it. Game's still even, guys. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be a close one.
Yes, and let's check these item purchases for Inca Turn here. Because there will be the 3rd Drake of the match, this first Mount Drake on this Mountain Rift, coming up in about 45 seconds. It's a big one. Void Staff was the lock-in for Oriana alongside that stopwatch.
You know what I'm more impressed by?
Yes.
Samvete has not given in to the temptation. He's trying to do the right thing. Umbral Glaive has vision control.
This is why support Zed is actually a thing can build on your Umbral Glaive. Good binding there from Chime. Yep, right. Seismic Shove followed up on that. 200 years of binding and a very dead Zed before this dragon fight.
Puts down on his shopping list Hex Drinker. USS. Gets absolutely one-shot there. That's the problem when you start there at low level and there's a really fed Luden's building Talia. It's just huge amounts of damage to come through from one piece of CC.
Ouch is what we'll do. That one, the Shadow Assassin slinks back to the Shadows, or the Shadow Realm, probably. MacMan stepping up to take out this pink wolf, but he's kind of alone, and there's 4 members of 7 deadly sins coming around. That is that sin of greed we talked about. You don't get to walk into the river like that.
That was, you know that episode of Rick and Morty? It was like, oh, you know, it's a quick 20-minute adventure, in and out. Yeah, that was that.
Yeah, the crying pot as they respawn in the fountain, and MacMan and Samvete are going to be crying. It'll be time for a more gentle adventure.
I'm going to need to take this Weaver's wall.
Oh, jeez, Nightmare. I'm not sure about this dragon take.
Neither is Raging Platypus eating a...
my days! That Command Dissonance nearly claims the dragon, and it will be actually secured by Craft and not the Smite. Oh my days, good troll pole there.
Troll pole gets him out there. Raging Platypus still in a pretty good spot this game. Has a lot of gold to his name. Actually has more gold than the Talia at 8,200.
That's
so 7,400.
Going towards a Lich Bane 3rd as well. That's pretty good news. He's got himself that Zonya's already. A lot more outplay potential for the Fizz as a result.
Extra CDR.
Yeah.
Keeping up in farm, keeping up in levels. Actually has a level advantage over the Zag. We're in another pause.
Alas, sweet prince. I suspect this might be a Ice Arrow related issue again. Oh no, apologies. That's Samvete lagging apparently. This time, of course, from the side of Inca Turn. I apologize, 7 deadly sins. I made an assumption and I was wrong.
Yuno says ADC support lagging, to which they clarify Sanvete is lagging because who actually knows who's the real carry right here in a Zed Ashe lane?
Yeah, the confusion definitely abounds.
Yes.
Okay, we've got a chance actually to take stock. It's
Mhm.
still about only 2,000 gold different. The really big game breaker in my eyes, though, is the fact that it is 3 uncontested Drakes to the side of 7
Yeah,
Sins.
and when you look at the burst combo that Inca are trying to put down, going through the extra couple of hundred HP
yeah,
of shield,
hard work.
it's hard work. The extra resist, hard work. I mean, there's a Phantom Dancer second on the Caitlyn too. As, you know, you have that shield to go through when you get to low HP. You got that extra shield to chunk through on high HP. Don't get me wrong, the Caitlyn's still going to get one shot, so they can still get one shot when you put everything towards them. It's just whether it stops it from being a complete whitewash of a one shot, or you get to turn around some damage, buy some time for your
a couple
teammates.
shots in there.
Also means Zach's going to be really tanky.
Zach's going to be hella tanky. That's always a bonus if you're a Zach player. And the other thing I have to call out is that the fights the 7 Deadly Sins have won have led to objectives. The fights the Inca Turn have won have been good kills, but have largely not really earned them any objectives. We've seen all 3 Drakes go over the way of 7 Deadly Sins for a reason.
A lot of that was from bot lane prior.
Yeah, there is that.
You know, there's an 80, there's a 70 CS lead to the game.
And you know, in credit to people like Yoon as well, because when the Talia went roaming, a lot of plates went the way of Oriana, and with her clockwork wind up, she's deceptively good at taking turrets.
Yeah, did all right, really.
Yeah. And that means this game is much closer this time around than it was the last time. We're seeing slight edges to 7 Deadly Sins. Honestly, large edges when it comes to the Dragons. But Inca Turn are here with a bit of a curveball draft and are playing it a little scrappily, granted, but with a bit more competitiveness to it.
And well, I think scrappy is the way that Inca Turn will win this game. Unfortunately, not Scooby, because scrappy ruins everything.
Yeah,
but that's just kind of how it goes. When you have all of these burst champions with weird windows of power, you know, you've got like the Death Mark is a well-studied ability, but just having that up, the playmaking can get you, particularly when you're playing around vision control, which you will be doing this game. We saw that Zed died from the vision control he was trying to bring after that one binding lands into a full combo from Talia. Now, having these weird windows of burst does mean that when things get scrappy, you don't always have those perfect calculations. You're like, oh, what cooldowns has Fizz got up? I don't know, I was looking at Zed. I was looking at Ashe. I was looking at Oriana. There's just a lot of things to keep track of.
The other thing I want to keep track of is the fact that Aurelia has got a pretty good 2-item spike plus an Executioner's Calling.
Yes, corruption. Corrupting Pardon and Executioner's
That's exactly,
Calling.
that's the really important
Yes,
thing. Those are the items that matter.
Yes.
Expensive items as well.
Oh,
Can't start with one of those.
Yeah, I mean, you can start with a Corrupting Potion. That's pretty good.
It's too expensive.
But you buy a Corrupting Potion right at the start of the game.
Definitely can't. I know you can. I'm just being sarcastic here because the Blade of the Ring and Trinity Force are in fact very expensive, very powerful items.
Yeah,
you didn't run with my sarcasm there. I'm very disappointed in you. What kind of British caster are you? Blind one.
I mean, you can answer that if you like, but I'd like not to get dragged on live if that's okay.
No, I'm your older brother. My whole job is to drag you wherever we are, whatever happens in life.
Big brother on top lane right now is on a sleep. We're back out on the pause. This Aurelia is doing some work. Has a 90 CS.
Can we check in all the gold? Actually, I'm kind of curious where that Aurelia is at. Oh, wow, that's a 3,000 gold lead alone in the top lane there.
And when we talk about gold leads at like 20, 15 minutes, it's like, 3,000 gold lead, that's pretty good. Having that on a single person is huge.
Yeah,
it is very large.
And, you know, we actually hold pro players to about a 10 CS a minute average. That's what you really want as a gold standard. That Aurelia is not far off that, and especially because she's been roaming and fighting and teleporting, and top laners can sometimes be away from waves occasionally because of the way they need to move around the map. Credit to Honest Sleep for getting in great farm numbers as well as great kill participation.
You can also say that for Craft too.
Yeah.
Oriana, looking in towards this Raptors, a couple of seconds too late, will be taken by Ice Arrows. Has the Spirit's Villages built up, one of those core items for Zach. It means that when he picks up blobs, he does get that extra healing. Will also help versus the Fizz, the Mundo, and the Oriana too. Looks like a lot of pings coming down onto the mid lane, and the Ashe ult, that's why the pings were there. Misses out on the Talia.
Misses out until it. Hodgson flashing out of the Flawless Duet there. Did not want to get stunned up. Again, this is another long lane, but Aurelia is going to be moving back her own lane, and she doesn't have minions to play with. This is looking like it could be a 3, possibly more, versus the 1. The stun does miss. Now Honest Sleep getting slowed down. There comes the Vanguard Edge. Just hits Hodgson. Walked into the wall, though, did MacMan. That slows him down. And the trade back is not quite there. We're going to see the 1 for none there. Check out the mid lane, though.
Okay, and Shackle lands.
Oh, that's a decent shockwave, though. But Ice Arrows is pretty scary. Can the Seismic Shove land? That's a lot of stuns. My days, Raging Platypus was lucky to get out then.
You know, you mentioned Fizz built up the Zhonya's earlier. Normally, I'm like, oh, yes. You can Zhonya's when you're in a Morg binding. You can Zhonya's the Zac jump if you see it coming. Using Zhonya's versus a Caitlyn is often a very trap idea. You think I'm going to be safe, and then
she puts a trap underneath you.
I was like, oh, I was going to use trap another. Yeah, no, the trap comes down if you're in stasis.
She's just an artist, you know. She's like a guerrilla artist, you know. She's like disgracing the name of the sheriff because she's going around vandalizing works of art, saying, you know what needs to be better with this work of art, this golden statue in the middle of the lane. Stick a cupcake trap underneath.
I actually have no idea what you're talking about.
I've even heard about this. Like graffiti, like it's like there's the one
well, okay,
guy.
So Guerrilla the animal or Guerrilla is like Guerrilla Warfare?
Guerrilla Warfare, Guerrilla artwork.
See, that's where I was making this. Like, it's like a Guerrilla artist. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
It's like
this is a very weird reference.
There's the one artist, I forget his name, who goes around and basically makes his name graffitiing over Banksy's work.
Really?
Yeah, really
That's
famous
really
for
cool.
it. Not really cool. It's really irritating. Goes and covers up all of Banksy's works and makes his name basically by covering up
defacing Banksy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's really irritating. And that's what Caitlyn's doing. This priceless work of golden statue.
Oh, shocking misses.
Cupcake. The shot.
Wait, Fizzle doesn't.
Fizzle doesn't, and that's the Zhonya's that does make a difference. Decent chunk out from the Z. A decent arrow that does hit onto Icehouse. Clutch sidestep there from Try and Break does mean that the Black Shield was unnecessary.
A lot of cooldowns used there from Inca turn, though. It was actually the fleet footwork speed up which got Caitlyn out of that shot.
Man.
If that didn't come through, that would have been a very CC'd, almost very dead Craft. Another fight in the bot lane. 3-level advantage for the Aurelia.
Round 33, it feels like in that bot lane. MacMan is getting engaged on the stretching strikes. Landed the shutdown onto the Oriana and another kill in onto MacMan. We're watching Raging Platypus go in and get at least one, but the exhaust is in, goes golden now. Gonna try and wait out the let's bounce, but there's another trap underneath it.
Yep.
Trap item, traps underneath. Caitlyn picks up that one.
Also worth noting that it was a failed kill onto Honest Sleep on that Aurelia. Flashes away from both the Mundo and the Zed who went down bot lane, and the siege is continuing for this Caitlyn. Has no mana, but doesn't need it to start auto-attacking the inner tower in the mid lane.
And we know that Caitlyn does turn into a ridiculously potent siege tool. She's got 2 items, she's got a Zeal, there is none. Oh my days, that was a clutch binding. Good bounce up, and now Samvete is having a flash out, desperately low. Craft gets the rampage. 7, 2, and 5, and once again, it's taken a little bit later, but Inca turn are starting to get scrappy and losing fights in this, well, now edging into late game.
We were talking about, oh, well, you know, the fights, even 7 Deadly Sins, kind of getting the edge. They're getting an extra dragon where it's spawning. They're getting, like, an extra kill. Getting some extra CS because the AD carry survives. Now it's just 7 Deadly Sins just winning. No, they take down 2 turrets. They take down 2 kills. This is the Mountain Dragon spawn now, and at least the cooldowns are up for Inca turn. I'm going to sneeze for it. I'm not going to sneeze.
You're not. Oh,
I controlled it.
Controlled.
Yeah,
that is the power of the
point.
Colorcaster. Sneeze control on point, not on broadcast. You're welcome, guys.
Hooray!
Hooray! Hodgson has teleport for Mountain Souls on the table. Let's keep our eyes out as MacMan felt that dark binding extremely close.
Feel it on the hairs on the back of your neck, just missing, and that could have literally been the game. It would have been kill on the Ashe, onto the kill on the Dragon. They're probably getting the Dragon anyway.
I don't think Fizz is going to get there in time. Going to try and desperately get there. Too late. Mountain Souls in. And that means the disengage.
Shields
and the
resist
teleport was burned as well. Just too late to pull the trigger.
They didn't find the correct approach, didn't find the timing, didn't find the angles, and now they're going to have mid lane shoved in. Maybe Baron is the next ideal for the side of 7 Deadly Sins. The scary thing about their team is that I think they can probably siege in without it.
Yeah, and we saw the trailers for Horizon Zero Dawn's next game coming out. It's going to be another sequel in the bot lane because that is a flame Horizon for Craft over MacMan. That Ashe has just been put a long ways behind. You know, it's an item and a half behind. There's an Executioner's Calling, like gratuity item put in there.
I would pay a lot of good money for an Aloy Ashe skin.
That would be kind of good fun.
Really cool.
I mean, you can do it in.
By the way, I have the best skin ideas. By the way,
I believe in you. That Baron damage is going to be pretty absurd, and a lot of poke out with the Leandries as well onto those 2 champions.
You know what my last skin idea would be?
What?
So you know who's been really good recently? Cassidy.
Yes,
Cassidy's been really good. Lots of good skins.
He does. Darth Vader.
But he's basically Darth Vader. But you know, he has a lot of very mediocre skins, and I think you'd have to even that out by giving him the best skin in the game, which would be Cassidy. He just has like a microphone attached to his arm. And like
Cassidy, you can more love to me because I'm great.
Well, maybe sure, cool. I was like, oh,
my voice is definitely a match for James Earl Jones. I promise.
And every time he like fights a champion, it's like, and he goes for the big play and he gets the kill. It's like, Cassidy, what was that?
Casted him. What was that? Brilliant. I'm genuinely quite down for that.
It's
I would
like-
be really down for like a casting theme because we've kind of got we sort of have that with the Draven one. They announced a Draven.
Fizzle lands on Slayer.
Fizzle does land.
So many Zonyas!
There are a lot of Zonyas. The Ice Arrow lands on the Shockwave is good. That's a big shutdown. It's a 4 versus 5 now, but Ice Arrow stepping forward gets the Let's Bounce. And Kraft is a monstrosity. And the strong arm of the Piltover Law continues to shoot in. Double kill in. 9, 2, and 5. 3-item Caitlyn is running over this game, and there just isn't an answer.
I was going to make a joke about craft work because of the amount of work which Kraft is putting in, but I'm actually not. I'm pretty sure. I don't know which country Kraft work are from.
The German.
The German. Okay, well, call Kraft.
Daft Punk take a lot of inspiration.
Call him a German EDM disco. I don't know the genre band. Kraft is putting in the work.
Invent disco, man. Like disco is off Kraftwerk. The Vanguard's Edge does in fact miss as I give a bit of a musical history lesson while we're continuing. Base is broken, Hodgson's in, but it's a 3 versus 5. This is going to be rough.
Caitlyn.
Fizzle did land onto Caitlyn. That's a good exhaust, and that's a big deal. The
barrier.
barrier as well, and Raging Platypus 2 levels down, just cannot find the kill. Phantom Dancer means that dancing their way out of danger is 7 Deadly Sins, and this is looking like a game to victory coming up very shortly. And style points as well. It's just Yoon, it's just Sambete. They can't find anything. Kraft sieges on the Nexus turret.
Oh,
another bind landing, and well, I think that's all she wrote. Honest Sleep sticks the sleep of death onto another member of Inca turn. The Nexus turrets fall. The Shockwave is all that's left. End of game, of course, will now eventually reach up 2-0. 7 Deadly Sins. Inca turn, gonna have to try and find something else. We'll have to find out later.
Next is taking a little time to fall. This unit's still
it
alive.
is.
Ace in the hole. The elastic
Flame with
slingshot
their food.
signals the death of game 2 and the death of the AD carry. And we'll be right back after you. Right back with you after this break. Words are good.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. I hope you enjoyed the little hype video there. And what a messy game. What a dominant ending for 7 Deadly Sins. We're here looking at some damage graphs and a few standouts there. Aurelia in the 1v1, unsurprisingly, considering how well she did in lane. Running up the damage numbers, but not quite as high as Kraft. 19,000 damage this game.
Yeah, and you know, it's back to us too, but we have the best post-game analysis and the best words. You know, I completely didn't flub that much.
no.
I lost my head just like MacMan did 8 times that game on the Ash.
Yeah.
I appreciate the innovation. This was a closer game than game 1. There were windows where they were arguably winning in a lot of these. Well, no, there were some clear wins. In fact, there was that 3-4 for 1 in the bot lane.
Similar in the mid lane later on.
Exactly. But then it came to a point where just too many Zonyas were available, too many stopwatches, too many black shields, and a lot of the big cooldowns they wanted to use to force the issue just didn't stick. We saw Ashe ults just be nullified in various ways in mid lane. Same with Fizz ults not quite landing, Zed ults being Zonyas away from. And it's really well played by 7 Deadly Sins to just hold their nerve, use their tools appropriately against the offensive tools of Inca Turn, and come out with a strong win again.
Honest Sleep had another stellar game on that Aurelia. Kraft, again, we talked about the damage up there. Credit to Chimebright. Once again, really good accuracy with those CC skill shots. We saw it from the Lothers, we saw it from the Bindings. Early game, particularly in that late game as well. That's really good news. For Inca Turn, though, we need to see a little bit more in terms around neutral objective control and the vision setup. They are late to the play. They are losing dragons. They are losing heralds. We also need to see around those mid and late game fights where they're just in places a little bit alone and getting engaged on with little response. That laziness, I suppose, is if I'm being cruel with the way to phrase it, needs to be kind of bit down on, chumped out.
Well,
I
think it's because they were bitten so much when they're fighting over vision. The amount of times we saw a Chimebright bind into death was absurdly high.
Yes.
No, 16 assists is no joke. If I was going to give a player of the series so far, it probably has been Chimebright between the 2 games.
I could see an argument for Honest Sleep as well.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. No, although top lane is island and sometimes it doesn't impact the game as quite as much as you want. Of course, we saw some huge 1vx outplays as well. Either way, going into game 3, you've now had 2 pretty tilting losses from the side of Inca Turn. You tried your normal stuff. You didn't have bans. You didn't have sides like kind of awkward. Game 2, you pulled out all the cheese. It smelled wonderful.
The Gouda was there.
Yeah.
The Gouda stuff.
But now you have to go into game 3. You don't have side choice again. Your back's against the wall. You know how to pull off the reverse sweep. We talked about it being a well-documented phenomenon, but it doesn't mean it's easy.
Well, backs against the wall. We'll see whether 7 Deadly Sins pull off the firing squad and dismiss this series 3-0, or whether Inca Turn can pull off the great escape and find their way to safety, or at least a reprieve with another game in their favor. Find out after this break.